Welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays. Here we are today with Mr. Peter Sterling. I am so looking forward to having this conversation with him about synchronicity. And speaking of synchronicity, our friend Brielle Bataille in the background, love you so much, sister. She's the one that actually brought Peter to my awareness. And wow, I got to listen to some of his harp music. One of his angelic songs I listened to a couple days ago, and such healing, beautiful music. He's also an artist, and I would love for you to share a little bit more about who you are and what you do in the world, Peter. Let's start with that.
Anastara, so
Yes.
happy to be here with you today. Thank you for having me, and thank you, Brielle, for connecting us.
Yes.
And well, of course, here I am with my best friend here, my harp. This is the main thing that I do in the world, my main expression. And I've been playing the harp for 30 years. And I had a series of miraculous experiences that led me to the harp when I was on my spiritual quest to discover who I am and why am I here and what's my mission, which is so common with all of us. And so I had a magical journey when I was led to Sedona in the early 80s. And came in, this is where I'm speaking to you from today in my home here. And this is where I live and work. And I do my work on the land. I'm a guide, I'm a backcountry guide, and I do sound healing. And I bring people out into the outback and show them the magical places of Sedona. And we do incredible things and introduce them to the powerful energy and the angelic beings of light and all the galactic energies here that I encountered and was so pivotal and powerful for me. And so I take others to have this experience, and it's amazing here. So if you like, I could play a little intro serenade for everybody, just
Sure.
for a few minutes.
Yeah, let's do that. We can set the tone. Thank you.
I'll just do a little improvisation.
Sure. Lovely. Yes, exactly.
So I do that.
Wow.
I also do work with the crystal bowls quite a bit here with my sound work. And this one I just wanted to share briefly too. I'll just follow.
Sure.
This is the rainbow. I call this the rainbow light body. crystal bowl. And this is so lovely to work out in the sunlight on the red rocks. It just reflects rainbow colored light. And so we'll just, it's a lovely time. And then a very special one I recently got, and I love working with this little jewel. This is a 528 hertz. That's from the solfeggio frequency, and that's the DNA repair. And Dr. Len Horwitz is a friend of mine. But this is a powerful bowl. I love working with this one. This one, my clients, I weave it in a double helix pattern around the body as I'm laying them down on the red rocks. So. This one's wonderful for reweaving the DNA, repairing DNA. It's love frequency, 528. So that's a fun one. There you go. A little sound attunement.
Love it.
To open up the portals.
Yeah, thank you so much, love. Really appreciate it. Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, when we have our intro and our outro video, we're actually playing the 1111 hertz for 1111 Unify, and it's the angelic frequency, and it's known as the frequency of enlightenment or awakening. And so I so appreciate working with tuning forks as well, and on the body acutonics. So
I do as well.
Yeah.
Yes, it's in my
beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you said you live in Sedona, and I just wanted to speak into that for a moment because we're talking about synchronicity today, right? And Sedona has always been a place in my heart. I've visited several times, and it's just a really powerful energy vortex. Like when I arrive, I can actually feel the resonation and the frequency running through my heart. And so can you speak to that a little bit, and like what some of the experiences are for people who are arriving to Sedona?
People have all sorts of experiences here. People come from all over the world to go out on the rocks, to lay on the rocks, to meditate on the rocks, to feel the energy here. And this is one of the most common questions I get as a guide here. For 30 years, I've been a guide here. And so what is it here that creates this experience for people?
Yeah.
Well, Sedona truly is a planetary vortex area. There's several factors that contribute to create the alchemy here. It consists of the minerals in the red rocks. Plus, there's the largest aquifer in the Southwest United States, flows under Sedona, and it's only 600 feet down. So we have a strong water element here. We can see
the negative ions of that too, right?
Right, and plus we have the creek that flows through here, the spring-fed Oak Creek, which, there's spring water where you can drink the water coming right out of the ground here, which is so special. Oh, I'm not supposed to tell. That's a secret. We have the water's immortality of Ponce de Leon here flow right out of the ground. We're so blessed. So now, one of the things I discovered in recent years, was shared with me, is that interesting fact about Sedona in this question here about the energy. The U.S. Geological Survey, usgs.gov, you can go and look at it yourself. They have surveyed all of North America with aircraft flying at low altitudes, measuring the Earth's magnetic field, a device called a magnetometer. And you can go look at the magnetic field line maps of these surveys. Interesting little tidbit of information. Sedona has, basically the magnetic field is generally kind of consistent around, but there's certain areas where there's spikes and dips in the magnetic field. These are called magnetic anomalies. So Sedona region here has the highest amount of magnetic anomalies in all of North America. And
Wow.
Canada. Yeah. So many of these vortex spots like Bell Rock, the major vortexes, Bell Rock, Cathedral Rock, Boynton Canyon, Airport Mesa, they have strong magnetic fields there. And when you go into these magnetic fields and you climb up into these areas and you meditate there and you just relax and receive the energy here, and allow your own personal energy and vibration to come into resonance with the powerful energies emanating from the earth here in these electromagnetic vortexes, we can entrain and come into resonance very quickly here. You can drop in it very strongly because the magnetic field is so strong here with it. And, so there is research that shows that our brainwave states are affected by the Earth's magnetic field. So what's interesting is when you go into these rarefied zones in these electromagnetic vortexes here, and you come into resonance, your brainwave state changes, and our perceptions are tied to our brainwave state. So if people can come here and they can, meditate here, and all of a sudden their perceptions change. They see things differently. Their external world seems differently, but also the way they perceive themselves is different. So it's really create quite a shift in perception here. That's the gift of Sedona. That's the energy it holds, the medicine. And it is really a multidimensional portal into higher dimensions, and I can talk about that too.
Right. Yeah, I want to dive into that. So one of the things that recently I visited Mount Shasta, also another energy vortex, and beautiful, just the frequency and the energy that I experience when I'm there, and the inspiration that comes through, and the story of Telos inside the mountain as well, and Lemurian city of light. And so people who are attracted to these kinds of energy fields, a lot of healers move to these areas. So per capita, there's more healers in these areas than other places in the world. And I'm very excited because in about a week and a half, I leave to go to Egypt.
Oh, wow.
And I will be there for 3 weeks, and visiting many sacred sites, also places where the electromagnetic field is variant and people have transformational experiences being at these sacred sites and these temple sites. And so it's one of my life missions and passions is to visit these sacred sites. And Sedona is so accessible to people that live in the area or live in the States. If you can't travel overseas, then at least we can go here. We can go to Mesa Verde. We can go to Four Corners. We can go to Mount Shasta. We can go to these places where we can have these really powerful experiences. And so let's dive a little bit more into what you were just mentioning, the multidimensional portals, because that's what I believe the pyramids are as well, right? Is these amazing.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned
portals.
You mentioned Mount Shasta, and that's a place I spent some time there on several occasions, experiencing the energy and the portal that's there, as you say, to Telos, the subterranean civilization. Okay, so Sedona as well has legends and stories of subterranean civilizations here. Sedona plays a very important role, specifically like with the Hopi stories, the Hopi creation stories. That according to this is interesting. So the Hopis say that we're living in the fourth world age, and the third world age. The three previous world ages were destroyed by great global cataclysms, which they call the Great Purification. Well, according to the Hopi story, is that the third world was destroyed by a great flood that flooded the whole planet. But before the floods came, the people that were living here, the ones that had their kopavi open, which is the top of the head, Hopi is crown chakra, kopavi. they could hear the guidance of great spirits speaking to them, who told the ones that were listening that the great purification was coming, told them to seek refuge underground with the ant people. So what happened was the ant people came up to the surface, opened up their secret passageways, and took the people down underground in these portals here, entranceways here in Sedona, and then closed it up. The floodwaters came. And then once the floodwaters receded, the people came back up to the surface and emerged into the fourth world age, of which we're living now. But many of the Hopi stories and the Yavapai stories of the natives here tell of this legend of the flood and how this was a place of emergence to these subterranean worlds. So when I came here, I received a message. I was very much guided to come in the late 80s. And I came by myself, and shortly after I arrived, I received a message that I should release all my material possessions and that I was going on a vision quest, and that I should acquire a Volkswagen camper van so I could be completely self-sufficient. And that's what I did. And for 3 years, I lived in my van, and I basically traveled between Sedona, Mount Shasta, Colorado, and in winter months I go to Hawaii. But I basically lived in my car for 3 years. But that allowed me to go really, really deep. This was before the internet and cell phones. And so all I had at the time was a PO box and a 1-800 voicemail. And that's all. And so it was very easy to drop out back then, which I did. And I retreated to the canyons here, and I just went on full exploration into the backcountry, into the vortexes. And I was very shamanic for me. I was very psychedelic. I was exploring all sorts of mind-altering substance and plant medicines, and working with the ET people and the angelic people and the shamans and all the galactic healers that were clearing me and realigning me and balancing my chakras. And then I discovered crystals, and I got into crystal energy and was doing crystal grid, still do. And that just to raise the vibration, to activate the codes, so much happened here. But ultimately what happened to me, when I went out into the canyons, what's one of the most profound things here is the silence. There's a profound silence. When you sit and you meditate and you allow your mind just to become very quiet, like there's a force field there. And as I said, you can entrain to it, and all of a sudden you can just, and you just open up into this vast space, which I did. So I went into the portal there. Ultimately, what happened to me was when I was in the silence, I began to hear the celestial music. I first thought somebody was in the nature playing some classical music on a portable stereo, but then I realized that no, that's not what this is. This is the inner music that the mystics and the saints speak about, the inner sound. And so I was guided in my inner voice telling me, just tune into that, tune into that. It was faint at first, but the more I tuned into it, it got louder. And then it was like the sound of the leaves, the wind in the leaves and the trickling stream and the bird song. Everything was in harmony with this celestial music. And I was just overtaken in this feeling of rapture. And I was taken up right out of my kopavi, straight up the central pillar of light. Here I am in the middle of nowhere by myself, meditating, having this cosmic experience, and just went right out my body. And I was taken up into the golden light. And there I just basked in the radiance of this divine light. And then as I looked around, I got my focus on the inner planes, and I could see I was surrounded. I started to see some forms around me in the golden light. And as I adjusted my third eye focus, it came in to where I would see I was surrounded by a group of angels who were there all around me, and they were playing harps and flutes and violins, the cherubs, just like we see depicted in the great Renaissance art of Michelangelo and Leonardo and the great masters, who the angels also influenced them at that time, just like they're doing now for us, to help us to come into the golden age. So I worked very closely with them. I was able to develop a relationship with them and a telepathic communication. So I had several encounters, and I do write about it in great detail in my book, Hearing the Angels Sing, a true story of angelic assistance. And this is my story of Sedona and what happened to me here, and how I met the angels, and how they basically told me that my mission was to channel the heavenly sounds of which I was hearing, and that the instrument that I was to play is the harp. And I wasn't really even a musician. I was in my early 30s. And this is a message like for all those of you out there looking for your mission. I didn't really find mine until I was in my early 30s. So there's plenty of time. And but when you find it, you'll hook into it, and it's awesome. But so that's what I've been doing for 30 years, channeling the angels' music, and they've led me all over the world. And I was going to say, I did get to go to Egypt, and I took my small harp, and we had a group of 20 of us for 3 weeks, and we did all the major temple sites, and we had private visits into all the major sites. And I got to play my harp in beautiful ceremonies we did, sometimes candlelit late at night in these temples, because we had special access, and it's very, very, very special. You get to lay in the sarcophagus in the Great Pyramid and all of that. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to it, and
Sure.
just being present in these power vortexes and receiving the messages, receiving the transmissions, just as you explained. You know, and for me, that is such that is part of synchronicity. That is part of the inner guidance. You know, you say you were led to Sedona, just as I feel like I'm being led to Egypt and coming back home. And to really experience the transmissions and discover what it is that I need to know, and to remember what it is that I need to know, and that I'm open to those messages, like an open vessel to receiving, right?
Yeah.
So watching for signs, watching for signals, watching for the synchronicities that aligns everything to get to a particular place, and then to have that experience. So I love that you do that for people in Sedona. It makes me want to come out and see you as soon as possible.
Well, you definitely should. And our friend Brielle can attest to the fun and the adventure of going out on the land in the Jeep and having the four-wheel drive and going to some of the sacred pools and all of this. It's amazing. Like these places, these sacred sites around the world, they do hold like frequency there. They have coded information. So like when you go to these enhanced force fields, these powerful planetary vortexes, they do have an effect on you. What they do is they elicit soul memory, because we've all had past lives in Egypt. Come on. You know, and all the great places we probably were there. So when you go back, you so many of the memories come back to you, and you feel it. For me, it's kind of like a feeling, and then from that, when I look into my mind's eye and look into my heart and soul and see what that is, oh, it's wonderful how all these, and then you can receive. You can reclaim your gifts and your powers and your cities and your healing gifts and your clairvoyant gifts and all of these things. But of course, the pyramids is an ascension point, because the pharaohs, they were trying to launch, you know, into the higher planes. So you can step into that, and there's a strong portal there. It's amazing. So
like an antenna.
Yeah, it's definitely connected. So I was going to say, I've been lucky to be able to travel the world a bit and take my harp around the world and play in many of the sacred sites, like Machu Picchu in the Sacred Valley, and the British Isles in the UK, going to the stone circles and the crop circles, and then also I spent a lot of time. Been lucky enough several times to go and spend time with the dolphins in the Bahamas on these dolphin swim adventures, where I bring my harp and we play at the front of the boat for the dolphins, and we swim all day in the watery world. So it's
wonderful.
Really wonderful, bringing the sound healing and the sound activation around the world. That's been my mission, is to carry these instrument and the medicine I have with the sound, and touch people in that way.
Yeah, you know, one of the missions and one of the objectives of 1111 Unify is to create sacred pilgrimages to these sacred sites with groups of people on 11/11, on November 11th each year. and activating and opening that 1111 doorway and that portal together on that very auspicious day. And so I look forward to discovering more how we could even weave together, brother, because this is truly magical.
Well, the synchronicity of 1111, that's been a big one. I was there when it first got coined by a woman named Solara, I believe, back in the 90s. That was the first big 1111 celebration. But somebody asked me, we said, what is it about 1111? And when I look at 1111, especially like on a digital clock, and you see 1111 with the two dots, it's like two pillars, four pillars of a temple. And you can see it's very dimensional. And it's very much similar to like the Mayan numbers as well, with the lines and dots, you know, that particular thing. So definitely a portal.
Indeed. 11:11 has been a part of my life since the beginning. I was born at 11:12 p.m. So I stepped through the 11:11 doorway. And then my husband and I have been hosting an 11:11 gathering every year for the last 11 years. And so this year is our 12th annual. And last year we took it virtual. It's always been an in-person event. And last year it went virtual, and then this year our focus will be on the virtual one again. But the future is that we actually have groups of people at the sacred sites at the same time, and we're all live streaming from those places. We want to film in 360, so anybody at home can literally wear their VR goggles and feel like they're present.
Oh wow! I
got right mine. There with us at these sacred sites, and so. Yeah, exactly. Right. And so this is the idea. This is the vision. And so many synchronicities, so many things come forward. And anytime I'm working with 1111 closely, for instance, last year, I launched the website about 3 months before the event. And just once that launch happened, everything just align. It's like, okay, I'm listening, universe. It's all perfect. It's all divine. Everything's happening for the very specific reason. And I'm just listening. And the more that I followed my heart and the more that I listened, the more people came on board. Powerful, amazing, transformative people. I know Solara Anra, not personally, but I'm familiar with her work. I have read every single book that she has. Solara Anra is literally my favorite author. And what's interesting is I had her 1111 Doorway book. It's a white book with silver holographic numbers on the front of it. It says 1111 Doorway. Yeah. And that sat on my bookshelf for 11 years. I didn't read it. And then when the lockdown happened, that's when I picked it up and I read it. And I was like, okay, so our annual event that we do at a retreat center or at a large home nearby it's time to expand and to bring more people into the fold. And that's when we decided to bring it virtual. And it was interesting that I had it for so long, but I'd never read it before. And then the moment I was done reading it, I had to purchase all the rest of her books, and I read them all within 3 or 4 months. And she's incredible. She has a piece of property down in Peru that I'd like to go visit. It's called the Heart of An, A-N, which is the first syllable of my name, Anastara, the family of An from Pleiadian, and the Pleiadian family of An. And so she hosts retreats where you can go and spend time with her privately. And I'm hoping once everything kind of frees up and I'm able to travel down there, that is one of my dreams come true, is to go visit and be with her and share with her the 1111 Unify vision and hope that she would want to be a part of it. So I'm planting that seed.
Absolutely. I wanted to just touch in as you were saying, about synchronicity and about numbers, 1111, Stargate portal. Oftentimes we start seeing numbers in our awareness. See the clocks, maybe 333 or a 444, and these are all, as you were saying that, what was coming to me is the universe is like a computer. It's a holographic computer, and our brains interface with that through our chakras and our nervous system and our etheric body into this universal mainframe. And this is often how, when we're on our journey of awakening, because we are in a lower density material world. We don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily live in the realms of celestial light down here on planet Earth right now, but this is our destination and our goal. And so many of us who are working on our ascension and raising our vibration and activating the codes in our DNA to activate our light body, our fifth dimensional light body, so that we can move, unify, move together into this unified field of oneness,
Mm-hmm.
of divine love,
Mm-hmm.
and to make our ascension into a higher dimensional space. And this will usher in the dawning of the golden age, because the new world, the new Jerusalem, which has been long prophesied and promised to us, it's in another dimension. It's like in another frequency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's really important for us. All of these things, these numbers appear, and signs and symbols of synchronicity in our life.
Yeah.
And I call these the miracles of love that light the way. And so when you're on your path and you pay attention to what's unfolding before you and all the signs, so synchronicities start to happen in greater frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So you pay attention to those, and oftentimes we will doubt what we're seeing, or we will discredit or not believe or have faith that it's real. But the more that you affirm in a positive way that this is a positive feedback loop you're getting from the universe, and to follow that little trail, it's like Spirit is giving us little sprinkles of light on our magical path to unite us with our true self and our divine self. So that was a big one for me as I was on my journey to discover what my life's work with the angels and the harp was to believe and have faith, because it's not a linear pathway. It's crazy. It's like a labyrinth. All right. This is what's so powerful about walking on a labyrinth, because from point A to point B is not a straight line on our spiritual path. And we have many unexpected twists and turns that will come our way. And we have to make some pretty important decisions on which way we go, right? So it's like that old Robert Frost poem. I was in the forest, I came to a pathway and it split into two, and I was the one that had to decide which way to go, like in life. So following those synchronicities and also listening to the inner voice and allow that to guide you, and really trusting in deep. The angels were always telling me the mantra repetitive from the angels, they were always whispering to me was trust, surrender, and let go. Trust, surrender, and let go. There
Indeed.
you find the treasure.
Indeed. Yes. I'm currently channeling a book right now called the 1111 Codex, and one of the chapters is called Synchronicity. So it's one of my favorite topics. So and really learning how to cultivate how to listen, right? And so when you talk about sound, when you talk about being inside a vortex or a magnetic electromagnetic field, being able to just really drop in and listen. I live in a very quiet area outside of Sebastopol, California, and you can hear a pin drop at night. It's so quiet. And what's beneficial in that really is to just be able to listen. And so many are surrounded by a lot of static, whether it's electromagnetically, frequency, just sound, just computers, television, phones. Like, we're bombarded every day with these frequencies that keeps us from actually listening inside. And so finding time to be in your bliss, finding time to be in pleasurable experiences. And I know that just sitting quietly is not the way for some people. Some people find that sitting still in meditation can be challenging. And even though this is highly recommended, movement as well. Yoga, Pilates, dance. Dance was my meditation for so many years. Just because I'm an active person, sitting and actually being quiet in a meditative space was more challenging for me. I found my meditation when I was actually in flow. And I was a hoop dancer for many, many years. And this was my moving meditation.
Mhm.
I'm actually in the spiral energy vortex of the hoop around my body. And I was the center of the spiral. And so I want to just ask you, when you're in your flow, what is that experience for you? You play the harp and the sound healing, but you're also a visual artist and a painter.
That's
And
correct.
so what is it like for you when you're in your flow state and that synchronicity is just happening through you?
Well, that's bliss.
Mhm.
That's bliss. When you're in that zone, then you're in your bliss, and follow your
Yeah.
bliss. Follow your bliss. What I have set up in my life right now, and I've had this a few times. I'm talking to you now in my recording studio and my digital art studio here with my computer and everything. So I do a lot of creative things here. But I also, in the basement, I have my art studio where I make my portals of light paintings now,
Yes, please
which
share.
are these beautiful, beautiful
Ah,
pieces.
so gorgeous.
And get a look at that.
It's like a gem.
Yeah, there is a gem in the center.
Magnificent.
There's a quartz pyramid in the
Is it
center.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
look at
you
that.
see it.
Yeah. 3D
Pyramid.
off of the canvas.
Yeah. And
Wow.
there's quartz crystal points and all other gems. I have like Herkimer diamonds and amethyst. And so this is actually a photograph of one of my stained glass windows. You can see here. This is one of my
Amazing. I love
stained
stained
glass
glass.
mandalas, you can see. And this as
Beautiful.
well has a quartz crystal in the center. So
Ah,
my glass is really unique because I put crystals and
it's
gems in them.
exquisite.
And then my
Exquisite.
angels a few years ago came through in visions and showed me how to make these, which are very popular. My art is in the galleries here in Tlaquepaque, down at the Cuvado Glass Art Gallery there.
Beautiful.
So I work in multiple mediums and dimensions. Yeah, I have like different places I can go to express and channel this energy. So I've been very busy. I just came out with my 16th album this last year, Sanctuary of Light.
Wow.
And
You won an award for it, right?
I just did. In January, I
Ah,
won the Hollywood Music and Media Award for Best New Age Ambient
wow.
Album of 2020.
Amazing.
So yeah, this is a really celestial journey. This kind of album where you put it on and you can just close your eyes and just let the music take you on a journey. I love music like that you can. And it has orchestral and symphonic touches, as well as beautiful keyboards and celestial textures and ambient spaces and stuff. So you can really feel the angels. It was guided to me to make it that this past year. I hadn't made an album like this in a long time, just very soft from start to finish. But they're like, we're going to need this, in the coming days. And sure enough, then the pandemic broke out,
Yep.
and so many people were passing because my music is used a lot in hospice work. So
Oh, beautiful.
people have conceived children, have given birth to, and also passed over at the end of life using my music. So me and the angels
Just got the full body truth bumps just now, by the way. I love it.
So, yeah, so I just came out with my 16th album, so
Congratulations.
so it's been a lot, plus a book, and I
Yeah.
have DVDs and things. So, and I'm a dad on my own. I got a 10-year-old boy, and so life
Aw.
is busy, but life is good here in Sedona. Even during these past months, life just kind of went on, kind of in some ways as normal here, and we get to get out on the vortexes and on the rocks, and we're very lucky here.
Yeah.
So good to be here.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, thank you for sharing all of that. And, it really is a privilege to be able to go outside, and so many people can't right now. And it's so important. I mean, spending time in nature brings us back to our true nature.
Right.
And so even taking a walk, like go to a park, if you're in the city, just go outside and breathe fresh air. It's
Yeah.
so important to be connected with Mother Nature and with Mama Gaia, and put your feet on the land, take your shoes off and get them in the dirt, and then you'll feel a new vibrancy. We talked during our frequency mastermind with Jamie Gianover and a few others about negative ions and how important it is with that running water of a waterfall or the ocean or the creek or the underground aquifer, right? Because the negative ions really helps balance us. So I find that, when sometimes people don't even have time or can't find a place to go and experience that, even running a bath in your home and that running water creates the negative ions that our body needs and desires. And so spending time in nature. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of your hikes? You said you do take people out on tours. Can you share a little more about that?
I wanted to invite everybody to come check out my website, harpmagic.com, harpmagic.com. You can see all of my work there. Plus, I have a tours button on the top. You can see I have video and pictures of my Jeep tours and a full description of what I offer here on the land in that regard. So please come and take a look at that. And I would love to see you here. It's a wonderful time to come right now. Spring is blossoming here in the Red Rocks. A lovely time to come right now. But you were saying, people have been locked down. And one of the tools, one of the reasons the angels gave me my music is because you can listen to it and it does create a resonant field of angelic unified energy. It can bring you into the oneness, and you can feel God's love and the angelic presence in the music. That's the way I compose it and produce it. The angels have taught me. I'm all self-taught, really, this whole thing. I mean, the harp, I taught myself the whole thing, and the angels taught me how to play it. But everything is holographic. So this is so wonderful because you see the cover. It's like a forest. It's going into a forest with some light. So the opening sounds of this album are the little crickets and the little trickling of the water and the nighttime sounds kind of go this shaded glen with the sounds like in the creek there. And then, so this is very immersive is the point. And it's like you put this on and put on headphones and it really takes you into this whole kind of virtual reality. You just as you listen, you look up into your mind's eye, into your imagination, allow the music to create images because it is fully encoded. All the imagery is encoded in the sound frequencies. I've done this, always have done this with my music. And it's very clear because you can put intention into the sound frequencies, and as a whole, we can create a picture. There's an image. There's a panorama that unfolds within it.
Yeah, and music is the universal language. It really is, as well as numbers and mathematics. And that's why when we see the repeating numbers on our path, it is confirmation that we are being guided and led in a particular direction or a particular way to experience our path in life and really discover what it is that we're here to do. And so I just love that you keep saying, I was guided to do this. I was learned to do this. I was taught to do this, right? Talk about being open and receptive to what it is that you need to receive. Or
yes.
So, my goodness.
Let me show you the picture. Let me see if I can show you. This was from yesterday, and let's see if I can get it. This was my clients yesterday out on the land, and you can see them sitting there.
Beautiful. Yep.
And a beautiful day, the crystal bowls there.
It's gorgeous.
And it's very special. So I hope you can come and experience it. And see, Sedona is a place of synchronicity. So when you come into this supercharged energy field here, and you go around town and you go to the cafes and the juice bars and the yoga classes and the trance dance and the wherever you go, it's like magic happens here. You come into this field because we have thousands of people living here all together in community that are embracing the new consciousness, this metaphysical kind of paranormal phenomena that is Sedona. A large portion of the people who are all living here together, we are all coexisting within the field of agreement that, yes, we are in a supercharged place and magic happens here. It's very cool just for people to come out of kind of a normal mainstream reality and come into Sedona, and you get to kind of play in that energy field here. And some people, they don't like it. Some people, it makes people uneasy. Because what will happen here, Sedona has a way of bringing up your stuff too, because for your healing, and oftentimes repressed memories or things forgotten will come to the surface, or the higher frequencies can make some people uncomfortable. But the idea is just to let go and to just release here, and you can give it to Mama Gaia here. You lay on the red rocks and let her have all your worries and your pains, your sorrows, your, all of that stuff. The magnetic field here just will pull it right out of you, and just feel like you feel 20 pounds lighter all of a sudden. People often say it feels like they're floating a few inches off the ground. It is a different density here. It's a different density in this field, and you can feel it. The atoms in your cells start to spin a little quicker here. And then what happens is then here it can really facilitate an opening in the psychic perceptions for people here, because as they entrain to these frequencies, their brain starts to vibrate at a different rate, and their perceptions change. And all of a sudden they start hearing their inner voice, or they can hear their deceased loved one talking, or the angels or they're like their truth comes to them in a vision, like, oh my God, I'm really a writer, or I'm a healer, or I'm a filmmaker, or whatever, and this can really pull you into a new place here through the synchronicity of the environment here.
I love that. Yeah. I find that in the 3D matrix that most people only know about 6, maybe 7 senses, right? Taste, touch, hearing, etc. And as we're moving through the 4th dimension and into our 5D experience, more people are awakening their other capabilities. I think we have over 300 different capabilities, whether it's clairaudience, clairvoyant, ESP, telepathy, like all telekinesis. I mean, it just, keeps going and going. And so as people tune in and tap in and dive deeper into what these capabilities are for them, it's really beautiful to see how people are developing these capabilities. So it brings up a question for me, because I have a 5-year-old son. You mentioned you have a 10-year-old, a boy, you said?
Yeah.
And what it's like to actually raise a child in this energy vortex. Do you find that he has particular capabilities, suprahuman?
I do. He and his mother and I, we conceived him within that energy field. And even when he was in the womb on his mother's belly, she would do crystal grids on her belly, and she's an energy healer. So he was getting Reiki and movements in the belly. And then we would play the harp and crystal bowl oftentimes. And he's been around me his whole life. And if you would see our house, it's a metaphysical museum here in my house and an art gallery. So he's been exposed. He's very advanced. He knows energy healing already ever since he was very little. Even when he was 5, he used to hold up his hand and channel energy like this. So he's very aware. He knows all about the angels. I talk to him about the angels all the time. And I'm always teaching him now more and more at 9, because he's 9, just going to be 10 next month, actually. So he's in the 9-year change. He's in the Waldorf school. So this is a big transition point for him. And so he's actually asking more questions now, see? So he's always been my young apprentice. So even lately, he's been asking me about yoga. So we've been doing some practicing yoga. He loves to show me his warrior pose and this and that. And so he's got a crystal collection you wouldn't believe, because he goes to the Sun Gem Show with me every year. And he's
beautiful.
Ever since he was a baby. So, he's learning all the gems and stone. His mother's taught him all the essential oils. He knows many of them and what they do. And so, he's well on his way. Yeah, it's good. We have to help. He's a crystal child. He's in that crystal child frequency, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Our son, Cadence Alturas. Alturas means high altitude, and cadence, frequency, and vibration. And so he too is just very tapped in, and he'll say things. Something would happen, and I'd say, "I'm so sorry, Cadence. I didn't mean to do that." And it's like, "It's okay. I used to do it when I was your mom," And he told me the other day. He's like, "Mom, I love the totem pole in our front yard. I used to be a carver. I used to make rocking horses for the children and little toys." And so I really, really, how can I say, encourage him, to cultivate that connection and that remembering. So much of it is programmed out of the children so early on. And he's in the Montessori school. And I specifically said to the teacher, "Can you please encourage him? Like, if he says something that seems a little out of the ordinary, be curious and inquisitive about it, and let him speak his truth."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important to allow the children to really cultivate their capabilities and what it is they're here to do.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah, fabulous. Oh, can you tell us a little bit about how to get a hold of you? You mentioned your website earlier. If there's any other way to contact you, emails, etc.
Yeah, you can email me at peterharpmagic@gmail.com. There's a link on my website. I got all the links to my social media there. You can just click on there and we can get connected. Harpmagic.com. It's a good place to connect in. So thank you for letting me share that.
Of course.
It's an exciting time right now. You did mention you at one of your earlier questions, what else kind of multidimensional things happen out there in Sedona? So one of the other things I do is we do the UFO night tours. We have military grade night vision goggles that we can observe the night sky, and we are observing quite a lot of celestial phenomena at night that is invisible to the naked eye, but we can see it now with these very expensive night vision goggles. Very cool. Do you know? And so there's been a lot of activity lately, and so this is something I offer. Something's going on in the higher dimensions with the galactics. I just want to show you. These are the really
cool
night vision goggles.
Yes,
right?
High tech.
These you can really see stuff. It's amazing what you see. I mean, incredible. So we offer that too. So we night and day, we take people into the vortexes here. Just yesterday, I had some very prominent clients. My friend Janet Crowley, she's a spiritual teacher, and Ava Foley, she's a big teacher from Europe. And we took them out to the far country here, out to the ancient ruins, where we went to one of the major sites where people lived 1,000 years ago here, and got to see all the shamanic rock art. And there's a major portal at this site, major portal out here. So, come to Sedona, experience the synchronicity of Sedona.
Yes, sign me up. I actually was planting the seed with my husband, probably 2 days ago, saying, I think I really want to be on a road trip for my birthday in June. I'm the 12th. My son is the 20th. Okay. And we want to go to Mesa Verde and Four Corners and Sedona, and visit some friends in Colorado, and then end up in Austin and visit our best friends over there that are just moving.
Sedona is a wonderful place to be for the summer solstice on June 21st, because the vortexes are ringing here, and oftentimes there's a full moon right around then too. Here on the full moon for summer solstice, the rocks are ringing big time then. So
wow. Well, I'm gonna be at the Sphinx and the pyramids for spring equinox. So why not Sedona for the summer solstice? That sounds like divine.
You're right on track.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Peter, I feel like we have a future of weaving together, brother. I really look forward to meeting you in person and seeing how it is that we can create in our divine matrix together.
We'll do some of this.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, good. Thank you so
Oh,
much for having me, and thank you,
yeah.
our friend Brielle in the back there, for managing
Hmm.
everything. And wishing everybody love and light from Sedona on your path. Many blessings,
Yeah.
and we'll catch you another time.
Thank you, Peter Sterling. Anastar Maka here with 1111 Unify. Thank you for being here for Wisdom Wednesday. I'll see you next week. Have a beautiful day.